Fashion. I'm not a very fashionable person. Well, you wouldn't know it to look at me, of course. Does that mean that I'm old fashioned? Well, not exactly. Non fashioned might be closer to the reality, although perhaps I'm just kidding myself. I just really don't get the concept of fashion. Once upon a time, it was considered scandalous, or at least risque, for a woman to wear pants. Nowadays, we would look askance at a man who wore a dress or a skirt, unless maybe it was a kilt. Perhaps it has some novelty value. And yet, throughout long periods of history, men wore what could reasonably be called dresses or skirts. The Emperor Tiberius looks comfortable enough in this flowing gown, and this guy looks happy to let it all hang out. Why should anything be the right thing to wear, the right thing to say, or the right thing to believe at any given place or time? Who or what determines this? The market, marketeers, the trendsetters, retailers? Often it's difficult to buy anything that isn't considered fashionable, except maybe at op shops, which can be, paradoxically, quite fashionable. But of course, fashion is about more than just clothing. It includes manners and behaviour, music, literature, cinema, games. Pretty much anything can be considered fashionable or otherwise. The whole concept of fashion arises out of the need to fit in, to belong to a group. So it's not precisely about the external item per se, but about the set of beliefs and values that it incorporates. The need to belong is deeply rooted in our evolutionary history. Survival depends on being part of a strong group. Without the group, we're nothing. Weak groups are quickly eliminated. Once upon a time, we did belong to a particular group, our tribe, our village, our parish. With the rise of industrial society, though, these naturally occurring social groups began to break down as people moved in from the country into the cities, for example. This resulted in the mixing of people from all kinds of groups and communities. Then larger groups and communities began to arise, such as the working class. People sought unity, community, identity based on social class and job description. More recently, in urban environments, new tribes, gangs have emerged. Neighborhoods have sought to take the place of tribes, but many of these new tribes and groups lack the natural geographic and organic link that bound together the tribes and villages of our past. As a vestige of our tribal past, we try to define our identity within a group that dresses, talks, and thinks in the same way that we do. Although more often we change the way we dress, talk, and think to fit the group. The problem today, or one of the problems, is that fashion is such an ephemeral phenomenon. It's difficult, if not impossible, to keep up with the trends. And of course, these are often market driven, and people simply can't afford to keep up with whatever happens to be the latest trend. We're always in danger, therefore, of falling out of favour with the group. This introduces an underlying anxiety into our lives that's probably new to our times. We can't depend on our membership in the group for the belonging and stability that we desire because the requirements of the group shift and change all the time. This is made worse by the fact that these group norms are not even always determined by the group, but by external forces, celebrities, designers, corporations, all of which have their own agenda. I began by saying that I didn't get fashion, but perhaps I do. I share the need to belong. Perhaps, though, I'm not willing to change what I do, think, wear, or enjoy in order to achieve that belonging. I'd rather find a group with which I share many of those things already. However, I think realistically that's unlikely. there are always going to be so many things over which I differ with any group that I belong to. But if my ideal group does exist out there, if you're out there, let me know.